tried to look up latest opinion polls, haven't come out with much other than the story. Well, roughly speaking, the gap is between 16 points at the lowest end and 25 points at the top end. So most discussion amongst pundits is really about how big the Labour majority will be and what are the Tories going to be reduced to. And so you get stories of the Tories being reduced to 60 MPs, stuff like that. You even have it from Grant Shapps, you know, that the danger is that Labour is heading towards what he calls a super majority. What the hell a super majority is, I haven't got a clue. Um, you know, I mean, we used to have stuff, didn't we? From, don't anyone remember Quintin Hogg, Lord Hailsham, and he talked about an elected dictatorship, which you can get, I suppose, in a first past the post system. And indeed, as far as I know, I think we've always had a situation of where governments, no matter what huge parliamentary majorities they get, when it comes to the popular votes, I think there was one exception. I think it was 1951, but I could be wrong. So if anyone either knows it or looks it up as I'm speaking, I'll be grateful for that. But I think in 1951, we did actually have the Tories returned with over 50%, but I could be wrong on that one. Either way, that's really the point. That's where the discussion is at. How big the Labour majority is going to be, and how small the Tories are going to be on July the 5th in terms of representation in the House of Commons. Okay, that's led to you know, talk on the one side of the Labour Party being the natural party of government. I think that's far too premature. That was something that Harold Wilson aspired for the Labour Party to become. It's never been the natural party of government. If that title was going to go to any party, clearly it's the Conservative party. We've also got the idea that it's the preferred party of capital. Well, you could make that argument for today, you know, in terms of this particular day of this particular month. You know, we had the, what was it, 120 executives line up to sign their approval for the Labour Party. There's also story going around, which we predicted in the Weekly Worker, of Murdoch basically giving the go-ahead for the Sun to give you know, cautious but nonetheless backing for the Labour Party, as it did in 1997. I don't think they'll have the how should I put it, the nerve on July the 5th to turn around with another headline. It was the Sun what won it, given the Sun's circulation nowadays, and given the lead that the Labour Party has been enjoying way before any possible endorsement, which still might not come after all, from the Murdoch stable. I don't know about the Times, but either way, it certainly won't be the Sun what won it. What about the Labour Party being a bourgeois workers' party under these circumstances? Well, my own view is it remains so. And in spite of Sharon Graham not backing the Labour manifesto this time round, why? Two reasons, as far as I know. One is the question of workers' rights and getting rid of 0-hour contracts. The other one, note, is all about defense industry. And you know, no, it's the oil and gas. Excuse me, the Labour Party's stomped up on the defence industry. It's oil and gas and Unite Jobs in the North Sea and the oil and gas industry that she doesn't want to support. In spite of that, I would say the Labour Party remains structurally linked to the trade unions. The trade unions are the main generator of bourgeois working class politics. That's what they do. In terms of Sharon Graham, when she negotiates with an employer, she's selling the commodity labor power. That's where her politics lie. And what we have with the Labour Party is that link with the trade unions, and yeah, the carrying out of a political program that is, to all intents and purposes, indistinguishable from the Conservative Party. But yes, I think the Labour Party remains a bourgeois workers' party. For me, that doesn't mean that you're obliged to vote for it. I don't know any such principle that's involved. But I would say in this election, where there's simply, a Labour mainstream Starmerite candidate facing a Tory, Lib Dem, or whatever sort of candidate, on the basis that you want to be saying, well, the reason I voted Labour, as opposed to not bother to turn up or spoil your ballot paper, is that the Labour Party remains a bourgeois workers' party. I mean, okay, a small point. Nonetheless, I think it is worthwhile making that point. I'm utterly unconvinced, on the other hand, and I'll repeat, I know, that the idea that some comrades have, and this is, I think, more of an excuse, that they will vote Labour on July the 4th because hopes are so high that under Labour government, if hopes are low at the moment, they will rise, and you'll have some sort of crisis of expectations, strikes, demonstrations, and that will lead to the left growing and the left being on some sort of cusp of coming to power. And to me, as I said, that owes everything to excusing auto-laborism or something very close to that, nothing to do with the reality. I don't know it. I'm going to have to look it up. But the classic point of reference when it comes to crisis of expectations is France, 1936, the coming to power of the Popular Front government led by Leon Blum. This was with the support of the Communist Party. This was the Socialist Party, plus the Republican Socialist Party. It wasn't a socialist party, it was a petty bourgeois party, but with external backing from the Communist Party. And what you had is rank and file militants, I would guess overwhelmingly Communist Party rank and file militants, not because of instructions from Moscow or from PCF headquarters in Paris. What they did is they went on strike. They occupied their factories, and they won massive concessions. And the PCF and Leon Blum, the Socialist Party, had to do their damnedest to negotiate a settlement that stopped that spontaneous movement going any further, and to promise that the Popular Front government will actually deliver. Of course, the Popular Front government went into crisis. Leon Blum didn't last long as prime minister, and it wasn't that long before France fell, with the bourgeoisie, or at least sections of the bourgeoisie, effectively welcoming the Germans because this would put pay to the Bolshevik contagion that was running rife in France. All you need to read is your Jean-Paul Sartre on that particular question. So in my own calculation, this is meant to be a joke, by the way, I think the chances of a crisis of expectations in Britain following July the 4th are 0.00000000001%. So it's conceivable, it's technically conceivable, but anybody who actually looks at the objective situation would be crazy to come to any other conclusion other than expectations are basically at a zero level. And all people have an expectation for on July the 5th is one, there won't be a Conservative government. I think that's reasonably set. That's what their expectation is. They're voting to get rid of the Tory government. The second expectation isn't saying very much, and that is the Labour Party will be more competent. It might not be true, but the hope is that's about it. The hope will be that the Labour Party will be more competent than the Tories. I think that's possibly true. If you think about David Cameron, remember David Cameron, the guy that went for a referendum and lost it? You shouldn't do that. And to be followed by who? Theresa May and her deal with Brexit and these massive parliamentary defeats, followed by Boris Johnson, God, and then Liz Truss, and then Rishi, you know. So, yeah, perhaps they're right that on July the 5th, we'll not have a Tory government and the Labour front bench will be more competent than the Tory governments that we've seen. How could you be more incompetent? I ask. I really don't think it's possible to imagine a more incompetent set of scoundrels that we've seen leading the Tory party.